I haven't found anyone that's come to me and said, when shit happens, if you have faith, then you're now actually manifesting in further what you want, instead of what you don't want, what's missing, what you don't have. Since 1981, Justin has been producing world-class Bordeaux-style wines from Paso Robles on California's Central Coast. As the pioneer of Paso, Justin wines are what put Paso Robles on the winemaking map. The Justin team believes that wine should be exceptional from every angle, which is why their team uses boutique winemaking practices like hand harvesting and hand sorting. With a rich history of accolades, Justin produces exceptional wines and is proud to be America's #1 luxury Cabernet. Whether you're the first-time wine drinker or a wine aficionado, Justin has a wine for every celebration and occasion. Visit justinwine.com and enter promo code PLAYBOOK20 for 20% off your order. Justin offers the perfect holiday gifts for clients, colleagues, friends, or family. Be sure to check them out at justinwine.com to receive 20% off your order for a limited time and use the promo code Playbook20. Welcome to the Playbook. I'm David Meltzer, and we're here at the greatest stadium ever built, SoFi Stadium. It's amazing what money will buy, $5.5 billion, including a $1 billion screen with the unbelievable Justin Herbert and other Chargers behind us. But it's bigger stages and bigger people that give us a greater impact. And talking about a greater impact, I have my amazing friend, Rudi Riekstins. Is Riekstins?
Riekstins, yeah.
Riekstins. I have my amazing friend, Rudi Riekstins, here with me. Rudi, thank you for joining me for the Playbook.
I greatly appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
Well, you and I share a similar space. Your intention is to help other people. You coach, you consult. Your mission, though, is much bigger than just a business of helping other people. For you, you obviously come from a corporate background, humble beginnings. When did you make the shift to have a mission-based professional life beyond the personal mission that you're on?
I'm going to answer your question slightly differently. I was 16 years old, sitting in a high school gymnasium. A business coach came and stood up on the stage to motivate the kids, and it felt like this power, this force, I'm going to call it God, turned all the lights off. It was him and it was me, and I just knew that was what I was going to do with my life. And
at 16?
I knew at 16.
What was it you liked about the business coach?
You know, it wasn't the business coaching. He was motivating and inspiring kids, but he really touched my soul. Like every hair on my body stood electrified, and I was like, this is what I will do with my life. I'm going to motivate people.
Do you remember any quotes that he had or anything that he said?
You know, I'm going to say the token you can have and be and do and achieve anything, and it resonated because I didn't believe that I was qualified or worthy to have it or be to do anything. And so I hung my hat on, that's what I want to do. But I didn't feel good enough. And so in the room I was motivated, and at the end of the event I was motivated, and then I went home and I became who I was because I was that person longer. It took me 20 years from that day to take my first stage. And a period in between that was going into work, going into business. Why I resonate with you so much, David, is like at 25, I made my first million because I was wanting to be successful. I believed that was where my worth was. And so I worked 7 days a week, 20 hours a day. I bought the cars, the house, the things, thinking this was going to give it to me. And I still didn't have what I wanted. I felt like that little insecure boy. And I was headhunted in North America and went into corporate arena, very different environment than what I was used to in South Africa. I was an entrepreneur. I had 3 businesses at the time. And when I made that transition, I decided what I wanted to do was to go in and create the greatest impact with the people I was working with. I wasn't overly concerned with the job or the paycheck. It was like, can I just impact these people? And it was just the most beautiful experience to watch everyday people who show up to work who didn't have passion, purpose, or meaning in what they were doing. They were there for a paycheck, all of a sudden come alive. And it was just such a beautiful testing ground, if you will. And that's when I stepped into my purpose.
And in between stepping into your purpose from 16 to 36, there was times, I'm sure, that you started to see patterns that created a longer distance of resistance in your life, patterns that created interference, patterns that accelerated you in the wrong direction. In the analysis, looking back, What are some of the patterns that you think you energetically and genetically inherited that cause you to waste 20 years outside of your purpose? Or I shouldn't say waste, take that 20 years instead of 10 or 5.
We don't have enough time to answer that question. So I used to look at life like I was a victim, and everybody else had to change, and I wasn't the one that needed to change, and that was the pattern. So no matter what room I was in, no matter what business I was in, it was my partner's fault, it was my parents' fault, it was the teacher's fault, it was opportunity, it was because of where I was from or what I did. And I started to make those shifts or corrections within myself. That was where really my journey, where I started taking accountability for who am I and how do I show up. And when I did that, it changed everything in the business or with the people I was working with or with the relationships that I was having. But the pattern was really just of me putting blame outside of myself versus putting inside of myself. My podcast today is Empowered Life. My community is Empowered Life because we have the power within. But I spent, probably close to 30 years looking externally for something to solve what was wrong internally.
Yeah, certainty only exists within. You can't find outside of you what you can't see inside of yourself, which leads me to the next question, which is, I talk about limiting ourselves. And you obviously had great capability to make $1 million by 25 and to be financially successful and to be committed to 7 days a week to financial success. But there's certain limits that we put on ourselves, even when we're successful in a comparative way. Other people say, oh my gosh, he's amazing. But I know from personal experience that the limits come from either meaning from the past, some defining moment of the past, mistake, failure, setback, or parents, whatever it be, or it comes from a limitation in imagination or self-image. In what scenario did you find yourself limiting yourself either from the meaning of the past or limiting yourself through your own self-image, or both?
Such a powerful question. So I was 6 years old when I walked into school for the very first time, and the teacher said to me, hey, are you Cole's brother? And I said, yes, I am, because I was new in school. And she said to me, great, if you're as stupid as your brother, you're going to spend the whole year on the dunce's chair. And so she made me go and sit on the stupid chair. And then she put a dunce's hat on my head that had the word dunce written on it. And so I identified as somebody that was stupid. And so my journey was really about filtering everything through my life of I'm too stupid to be here, I'm not good enough, and I'm not worthy. And that pattern really showed up. I mean, still to this day, it doesn't go away. It's just how long do you stay in that state where you feel like, hey, is this really true? Am I not? And that really was my story, was most certainly my environment, my family, my friends, my relationships. You spoke about creating success. And when I had money, I had a girlfriend cheating on me. I had business partners stealing from me. I had friends that would call me and say, hey, can I borrow money, and never give it back. Like, I just allowed people to take advantage of me because I felt like, hey, I'm the stupid guy and I need to show my worth through how hard I work or how much money I have, and not through my relationships.
So you said something interesting that I agree with, which is that certain things are genetically and energetically inherited and they don't go away. So for example, danger in habit building is people say that it takes 21 days to change or to build a habit, which is true in the conscious. You need to be repetitive for about 21 days or more in order to start a habit to form in your subconscious. But if your unconscious competency, if your DNA, genetic and energetic inheritance, has alcoholism, it may be many, many lifetimes until you're not addicted to alcohol. So you need to have daily practices because it never goes away. And so I think alcohol is probably the easiest thing for people to understand, but they don't apply it to feeling not worthy or to a thermostat of some other behaviors that we may have, and they don't see the same thing. So they're fooled by the fact like, oh, I've been doing this for 2 years, so this must go away now. No, because it's genetically in you or energetically in you, so you have to just get better at shortening the distance of resistance. For you, what are some of the advice that you give today to help other people that, one, recognize the genetic and energetic side of it, and two, to get them to practice shortening, like you said, the time that I spend not feeling worthy?
We don't have to go very far to look at what it is, because we just have to look at our life. Anything that is in our life is feedback for what's holding us back or what's limiting us or where we're limiting ourselves. The advice that I would give to anybody is to understand who you are and to understand how your mind works and to where it is that you want to go. I teach a process called priming, which is a 20-minute routine of really biohacking, not our health, but our mindset as to how you can show up to be the most susceptible to change and influence. So the example is, if you woke up in the very first 20 minutes of your day and you picked up your phone and you turned on the news and God knows there's a lot of things that we could be scared about, we're going to be chemically inducing our body and our brain to look for evidence to reinforce that the world is a dark and dangerous place. If we're going to go into our unconscious mind, it's going to pull up memories, thousands and thousands of memories of every time we've ever been wronged. However, if we were to wake up and very intentionally, carefully, calculatedly plan, how do we want to feel, who do we want to be, where do we want to go, and following just a number of steps, then you're going to manipulate the brain and it's going to alter how your brain's going to think, how your brain's going to feel, how you're going to access information. It changes literally everything in your brain based on that thought or that feeling. And so in a really simplistic form, I would just say, when you wake up in the morning, the most important thing that you need to do is spend the first 20 minutes curating the end result emotion of what you most want your life to feel like. For me, it's awe. I curate the feeling of awe, like suspended in midair, like I just won the lottery, feeling like, and not even how did it happen, who am I going to hide the money from, just that feeling of excitement. And if you can hold on to that feeling, it's going to change everything around your body, and then it's going to change your energy, and then it's going to change obviously what you're drawing and attracting into your life.
This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them, because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/playbook today to get a 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/playbook. Imagine starting a small business, your first customer, first hire, first real paycheck. But everything isn't just exciting, it's scary. That's where JustWorks come in, the all-in-one platform that supports small business growth. Access seamless tools that help with benefits, payroll, HR, and compliance with transparent pricing. It's time to make payroll painless, run payroll in 90 seconds or less, and automate payments so you can set it and forget it. Did you know in 2023 alone, they processed over 25.6 billion in trusted payroll customers? Don't worry about the paperwork piling up either. They take care of payroll tax documents and reporting to help you stay compliant. Visit justworks.com/podcast to join the thousands of small businesses that trust JustWorks to take care of payroll, benefits, compliance, and more. That's justworks.com/podcast. In order to control our feeling or to manipulate a feeling to feel a certain way, there's 4 other levels of intention that leads to feeling, which is doing, saying, thinking, and believing. And so within the context of those practices, do you have certain practices in what you do, say, think, and believe in order to feel that awe every day?
So I very intentionally wake up in the morning and I release any emotion that is built up within my body. And that's an exercise, a practice of being able to release how I was feeling, because we are actually a remembrance of who we were, not who we are. The brain is designed to remind you of who you were, not who you are or who you want to be. And so I release that, detach from the past of who I was. Then I decide who do I want to be. And I go into a meditative state. I'm completely calm, completely still, completely neutral. You are your most powerful in your neutral state, outside of influence, positive or negative. And then I forecast a dream, a goal, or a vision. Well, who do I want to be today? How do I want this to go? I was up at 3 o'clock this morning. It's because I'm from the East Coast and we're obviously in LA. And so 3 a.m., I was sitting on a couch for over an hour and I meditated just about how do I want to feel at the end of this interview? How do I want to feel when I leave today, when I fly home tomorrow? Who do I want to be? What kind of parent do I want to be? And then I curate that emotional state. When I come out of that meditative state, and I do it for an hour, you don't have to, then you have to do an action. You've got to take that, what you've curated, and put it into the physical world. And that would be through affirmations, through gratitude, through writing out statements. You know, we can hear and understand I am are the two most powerful words in the English language. But for you to write I am and then reinforce I am a great dad, I am a loving husband, whatever those things are that you've curated, and hold a feeling to them, it's changing your physiological state. I talk about there's three bodies: mental body, physical body, energetic body. And most people are aware of their thoughts, they're aware of their body. But what we're not aware of is what is the energy that is around us and what is it bidding on our behalf. Not only is it drawing and attracting experience to you, but it's speaking on your behalf. 90% of communication is nonverbal. And anyone that's coming into your space, they're feeling, how were you feeling last? And they're responding to you based on how you were feeling last. If you're nervous, anxious, scared, or worried, people are going to respond to you that day. They're going to say, wow, I really don't trust that guy. I don't like that guy. That's not true. They just felt your energy, and there was an incongruence between how you felt and what they wanted from you in that moment.
Yeah, others are mirrors of ourselves, and we see that. One of the interesting things about that is it's very easy to tell people theoretically, feel this way, do this, etc. But then we have circumstances of the day. So one of the areas that I'm studying and working on is the reconciliation between the human experience, which is the common denominator dictated by 24 hours a day, and the circumstances that exist within that 24 hours. And then how do I reconcile that with this infinite, divine, powerful journey that I'm on? And so for you, a lot of what you're talking about is very divine in its nature. It's very theoretical, and I do the same practices, but I have a difficult time myself in teaching others, okay, but you have a mortgage. You have a flat tire. You're late you have circumstances in the day, and all that stuff you did in the morning for an hour, feeling what I'm going to become. You know, I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am worthy. You know, there's a lot of shit that's going to interfere with it. That's the reality of the day. How do you reconcile the circumstances of each day with this divine approach, this infinite approach that you take every day?
I love your question, because everything that you have in your day, if you were intentionally, carefully, calculatedly, I'm using those words very intentionally too, planning who do you want to be and how do you want to feel. When you have a flat tire, when a bird poops in your shoulder, when you get a no at the end of a call, that's actually...
You're describing my day.
That's actually the answer to what you created in the morning, and we think it's not. And that is, so like, I'll give you an example.
Say that again, because I want people to think about what you just said.
So when you curate who you want to be and how you want to feel, and then when you met with your day and you meet resistance, the resistance isn't resistance, it's the answer to what you were wanting. When that person doesn't take your call or the client fires you, it's because it's saving you from the thing. If I'm like, I want abundance, and then I get fired by my boss and I gotta go look for a job, what I'm gonna do is gonna bring me the abundance, but now we say, I can't believe I've been fired. It's always the answer. Your life is feedback, but the answer to what you're asking is in evidence of what's in your life.
The problem is we don't know or understand the evidence correctly.
We interpret it incorrectly, yeah.
Correct. And so, and that, I think one of the advantages I have to have such a impactful loss of losing so much is that it was very apparent that there's no way on earth somebody would think that losing everything would protect, promote, perfect you. That it actually was, I had gone 2 years of these practices and manifested my greatest fear, which ended up being the greatest promotion in my life. But at the time, there was no way logically I could interpret it as saying, oh, this is fantastic. My mom has to move out of her house. I have to move out of my house. I have no money. This is fantastic. My wife's pregnant with my 4th kid. Whoa, this is amazing. This is exactly what I was the last 2 years practicing for. But 17, 18 now years later, yes, it's exactly what I was asking for. So to finish up, how can we take these detours that are incomprehensible to understand or know at the time that they're happening, like a flat tire, the poop on the shoulder, losing money, not getting the deal, not getting into the school you want to get into, partners screwing you out of whatever they screwed you out of. How can we interpret it as protection, promotion, love, and perfection closer to the time of the outcome without any revelation?
So I can move from any emotional state inside of around about 20 to 30 seconds. So
Minutes or
heightened
moments.
emotion, like
Me
very
too.
quickly I can get back to neutral. But it's because I understand and identify, I know what it feels like to be neutral. Every morning when I release my emotional state, I now know how to get back there. If you don't know how to get back there, how are you going to find it when you've lost your way? So that's the most important thing. If you don't know who you are, no one's going to know who you are. And so I would say that's the most important thing. Then don't do what I'm about to say next. I tattooed trust on my left arm and let go and trust on my arms. Because we have an idea of what we want, but we have to trust in a power that's so much greater than us. And my wife said to me, why do you want to tattoo both your forearms? You don't even like tattoos. And I said, because I need to remember in the moment, I have to trust in God and I have to let go of what I believe is best for me because there's a power greater than me that's working through me and to me.
Which is once again why I believe you have to believe in something bigger than you that loves you more than your mom. Define it as you want, but it is essential. I can't think of any other way. And you know I have best option faith. And I put it out there to anyone. Just tell me something better to believe in than something bigger than me that loves me more than my mom. Because I'll believe in it. And I'll even use the name that you give it. But I haven't found anyone that's come to me and said, when shit happens, if you have faith, then you're now actually manifesting in further what you want instead of what you don't want, what's missing, what you don't have. And Rudi, you help so many people to do just that, to find what they want and want to become by utilizing the lessons of the past and the practices in the present in order to be who we want to become in the future. Rudi, thank you so much for joining me. This is David Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, The Playbook.